Reverend Holmes here at 221 Beaker Street with baby Dr. Watson, looking into a new case today. The question before us, what is Unitarian Universalism? Now, there are many questions related to this case. For example, is it a cult? Is it old or new? Is it Christian? Do Unitarians, or UUs as they call themselves, have to believe anything or just believe anything? And what is the purpose of their gatherings or services if they don't believe anything? What do they worship? And what is the significance of the flaming chalice? These are some of the questions that we will seek to answer today. So I want to start with a quote, of course, about facts from the famous Sherlock Holmes himself, as written by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. Sherlock Holmes said, "The difficulty is to detach the framework of fact, of absolute, undeniable fact, from the embellishments. Then, having established ourselves upon the sound basis, it is our duty, Dr. Watson, to see what inferences may be drawn and what are the special points upon which the whole mystery turns." All right, so that is what we are engaging in today, young Watson. We are looking at the basic facts of the case. So the facts of Unitarian Universalism. Now we know, of course, that this denomination, based out of North America, has its headquarters in Boston, Massachusetts, currently at 24 Farnsworth Street. We know that this association of congregations dates to 1961, when the denominations of Unitarianism and Universalism in North America came together to be Unitarian Universalism. So 1961 will be 60 years old, young Watson, next year. That's a young tradition, right? Yeah. But then the ideas of Unitarianism and Universalism go back much further. Why, you can trace the unpopularity of these ideas, the heresy of these ideas. I know, it is a loaded word. Yes, that's right, but people were burned at the stake for believing in Unitarianism or Universalism as ideas. No, not anymore, baby. No, it's okay now. Yeah. Yes. But the unpopularity of these, we can date back to 325, baby, right? When Nicholas, now known as Saint Nicholas, punched Arius in the face at the Council of Nicaea, 325. Yeah. And then, of course, the ideas became more popular on the fringes of the Protestant Reformation, right? I know, yeah, still only on the fringes. Yeah, the Calvinists weren't big fans. Neither were the Lutherans. But in Transylvania, Transylvania. Yeah, no vampire jokes. Okay. In Transylvania, we can date some of those Unitarian churches all the way back to 1568 and the Edict of Torda by King Sigismund. And then Unitarianism in England has been recognized as a denomination since 1774. Right, but both denominations particularly took off in the Americas. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we can even trace the denomination's roots to the Puritans, right? The Mayflower, we can trace it all the way back there. So while it is a young tradition in the sense of consolidation being in 1961, we can also say that it's old and young at the same time. And then the question of the significance of the flaming chalice. Well, Watson, we know first of all that it is a physical object used in ritual, right? Used usually at the beginning of something. We light a chalice and we say some words, and the lighting of the chalice is an important moment for a lot of Unitarian Universalists, how we start things off, whether it's a meeting or a Sunday service. That's right, or a kids group, all kinds of things. Some people light them at home even. But before that, it was just a symbol. Yeah, from World War II. From World War II, the Unitarian Service Committee, now known as the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, right? They needed a symbol. And an Austrian refugee they'd been helping, Hans Deutsch. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was first a service committee thing before it was even a Unitarian generally thing. But we liked the symbol so much that in the 1960s, it became the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. It's pretty cool. Now, we don't know when it went from being a symbol to being a physical object that we use for the start of worship services, for the start of meetings, for that sort of thing. But one thought I've heard, one rumor, is that it was the children who first began to light physical chalices. That's right. Yeah. So the children wanted to light something on fire like their symbol. Yes, sometimes we just want to light things on fire when we're children, but we do so safely under the supervision of adults. That's correct. Good job, Watson. So the idea is that the children first began to light chalices, and then it moved upstairs, as it were, because children's programming is often downstairs, and then the chalices started coming upstairs. The adults thought what the kids were doing was just so cool. So then another question, a third question, the loaded question: is Unitarian Universalism a cult? So we can look at some dictionary definitions of cults, of course, or we can look at some of the identifying factors for a cult. So cults are usually about, yeah, that's right, excessively zealous and unquestioning commitment to generally like one charismatic leader whose teachings are the word, the law, everybody has to obey them. Then there's all the bits about cults, right, that you have to do whatever the leader says. You may need permission to date. You might have rules about what you can wear. Yes, that everything is done to suppress doubts and keep everyone obedient, right? That there becomes no other way to be than the way of the cult. That cults are, if we're looking at a dictionary definition, relatively small, hierarchical groups that excessively control members who share sets of acts and practices which require unwavering devotion and are considered deviant outside the norms of society and are typically led by a charismatic and often self-appointed leader. So we can't deny that Unitarian Universalists are a relatively small group, right? Yeah, that there's about, what do we think, 187,000 of us at last count, maybe a few more. Right? But if we look at any of the other factors about determining whether someone is or is not a cult, Unitarian Universalists have a lot of beliefs about the importance of learning and growing and changing ideas. And if you start looking at Unitarian Universalists in terms of how they act, unwavering support of leaders is not one of our, now we tend to argue with our leaders a lot, don't we? Yeah. We believe in changing our ideas, and while we have core principles expressed in our 7 principles, which are voted on, which are seen as the core ideas that connect us to each other, we don't have a creed. That's right. Unitarian Universalists, Watson, don't have a creed. Instead, Unitarian Universalists organize around covenants and principles with no form of doctrine. I know, it seems wild, most extraordinary, but as Sherlock said, that's right, as Sherlock says, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth.